Chapter 14. 06 Dao Heart Collapse. Fong Yuqing stared at Zhang Yi's eyes and asked gently, "So what do you think? Is it better here or in the dream?" Zhang Yi looked at Fong Yuqing and smiled without hesitation. "Of course it's better here." There was no hesitation. Any normal person would choose to live in this place. That's it. Since it's better here, don't worry about it. Just live a good life. Fong Yuqing took Zhang Yi's hand and ran forward with a smile. The spring is warm and the flowers are blooming. The wind is gentle. The park near the community is green and grassy. Many people come here with their pets for a walk. Everything looks beautiful. Brother Zhang Yi, everything is illusory, wake up. Remember, you are Zhang Yi, the chaos of Jiangnan district, and the good brother that Yang Xinxin loves the most. A distant voice came from the sky, echoing violently in Zhang Yi's mind. The next moment he opened his eyes suddenly. Everything in front of him returned to its former appearance. There was no longer the white ceiling, the gentle and lovely Fong Yuqing, or the united and friendly neighbors, and the warm Yuelu community. Zhang Yi stared blankly ahead, and only a young monk looked at him with surprise and regret. Zhang Yi suddenly felt a little cold on his face. He had just shed tears unconsciously. Everything was like a dream. Even though he knew that everything he had just experienced was fake, it was still unforgettable. The funeral master said, "Amit Ba, I didn't expect that you, the donor, would have such concentration. It seems that you have a connection with my Buddhist sect." The funeral master said with emotion. The six dusts can drag people into the illusion, allowing people to see the most beautiful world and indulge in it. Even if they realize that it is an illusion, they are unwilling to wake up. But Zhang Yi actually got out of the illusion, which made the funeral master feel very emotional. Zhang Yi didn't say anything, but he had infinite emotion in his heart. How could he have such good concentration to wake up from the beautiful illusion woven in his heart? However, he learned about the master's ability during his communication with the Snow Mountain Condor. He had long been prepared for this move by the master. So before entering the Great Snow Mountain, he asked Yang Xinxin to shoot him an arrow. The ability of the rule system is mandatory and absolute. The rule of this arrow will only take effect after Zhang Yi is controlled by the illusion. Through absolute ability, Zhang Yi was forced to recognize the reality. There was no Yang Xinxin in the dream, but Zhang Yi could never forget Yang Xinxin, so the dream was naturally broken, forcing Zhang Yi to return to reality. He looked up at the master and whispered, "Thank you for letting me see everything. Although those are all fake, they helped me make up for many years of regret. Isn't it happiness to be able to have a beautiful dream?" The next moment, Zhang Yi's tone became cold. "But I won't pretend that nothing happened when you attacked me." The burial master frowned. "I just want to seal you temporarily. I know that you have already colluded with Luo Zhua in secret." Zhang Yi nodded. "It's good to know. Now I have nothing to say." After he finished speaking, he did not rush to attack. Instead, he waved to the side. A woman slowly walked out of Mu Yan's shadow space. A woman with long seaweed-like hair, a perfect figure, a maternal glow, gentle and beautiful. When the burial master saw her, his eyes quickly lit up. She was Lu Ruyan. She was the woman who enlightened the burial master. She was the woman who gave him the most primitive comfort with her warm and soft arms. It was because she helped the burial master become a real man that the burial master gained enough confidence to lead the army of Songjia Temple into the demon abyss. But the burial master didn't understand why his beloved woman appeared here, beside Zhang Yi. No matter what, his heart was full of confidence and pride. He believed that this woman had completely fallen for him. From those exchanges, he felt that this woman was completely submissive to him and had become his property with all her heart and soul. The funeral master waved to Lu Ruyan. There were no extra words, only one word. "Come." Lu Ruyan looked at the funeral master, her eyes full of tenderness and love, as if she was telling the pain of missing her for many days. Her enchanting figure swayed like a willow in the wind. It was this plump, soft and hot body that made the funeral master taste endless joy every night. Zhang Yi also smiled at this time. He just glanced at Lu Ruyan and slowly raised his arm. Come. Lu Ruyan's eyes immediately looked at Zhang Yi, and then she walked up to Zhang Yi without any hesitation and threw herself into his arms like a little bird. For the first time, the funeral master's face showed a look of shock and astonishment. He staggered back a few steps, his face pale, unable to believe what he saw. Obviously, this woman has been conquered by him, right? Obviously, she has become his property, deeply in love with him, and is moved by his strength and profound knowledge, isn't she? But why would she throw herself into the arms of another man in front of him? Zhang Yi held Lu Ruyan in his arms, kneaded her body hard in front of the funeral master, and his face was full of wanton and playful smiles. Do you like this gift I gave you? I forgot to tell you that she is a woman I found. She will do whatever I ask her to do. Oh, by the way, do you think she has fallen in love with you, so she is willing to give everything for you? Will she look at you with admiration, call you master, and make you think you have her in your hands? I can tell you clearly that she has received no less than 1,000 men in Blizzard City. This is just her job. Zhang Yi's words were very calm, but every word he said was like a sledgehammer, hitting the funeral master's heart hard. He has lived for more than 20 years and has never been exposed to love between men and women before. Lu Ruyan is his first woman and his enlightenment mentor. She made this big boy feel the happiness of a man, and thus made him fall deeply in love with her and couldn't extricate himself. But now, Zhang Yi told him that his beloved was just a prostitute who was paid to do things. The pride in the funeral master's heart was completely destroyed at this moment. His dignity as a man and his confidence as a tantric funeral master were pressed to the ground and rubbed frantically by Zhang Yi. Puff! In a fit of rage, a mouthful of blood suddenly spurted out of his mouth. He raised his finger, his eyes full of demonic hatred. You. Unforgivable. Chapter 14:07 A Man's Pain. When Zhang Yi woke up from the 6 dusts and different recognitions of the burial master, he immediately launched a mental attack on the burial master. Isn't it the most interesting way to fight back by giving the same treatment to the person who treated him the way he treated them? There is a 2,000-point difference in the ability index between the burial master and Zhang Yi, which is not a small gap. But from the beginning, there was still a huge gap between the two. As the strongest person on this trip, the burial master has always been the object of fear and research by everyone. Zhang Yi made a very cautious response plan for him, but the burial master could not do anything against Zhang Yi. Therefore, Zhang Yi asked Yang Xinxin to use his ability in advance to avoid being controlled by 6 dusts and different recognitions. Otherwise, just this mental attack, to put it bluntly, Zhang Yi would find it difficult to get rid of it. He is not strong enough to approach the willpower of the Buddhist monks. But he has one biggest advantage, which is to admit his own shortcomings, so he is prepared in advance. But can the burial master, this proud and pure man, withstand Zhang Yi's means? Seeing Lu Ruyan lying in Zhang Yi's arms and being manipulated by him at will, his heart suffered an unimaginable blow, and he even vomited blood because of anger. Zhang Yi is also a man, and he understands what is the most difficult for a man to accept. Especially for a novice like the burial master who has just become a man, he realized that his first woman was just someone else's plaything. Even her company was just a task arranged by the master. This kind of blow can easily make a young man collapse. The burial master's eyes were red at this time. The spiritual leader of the Tantric Buddhism completely forgot decades of heart-nourishing practice at this time. He burst out with amazing hostility and attacked Zhang Yi fiercely. Zhang Yi slowly raised the corner of his mouth. The burial master's heart was in chaos, and it was impossible to win him in this battle. Zhang Yi raised his hand and waved, and the 3,000-dimensional gates of Sunluo Wanxiang were built up layer by layer in the space around them. The burial master's fist slammed forward, with unparalleled strength. How could he look like the reincarnation of a god or Buddha? It was clearly like a peerless demon lord. But this power was completely swallowed by Zhang Yi, and it couldn't even damage his dimensional gate. Zhang Yi saw that the burial master's heart was in turmoil, and his breath became unstable. He raised the corner of his mouth and said in his heart, "I guessed it right. The power obtained by the most devout faith will weaken once his devout heart is broken. Zhang Yi put the others into the shadow space, but still held Lu Ruyan in one hand and fought with the burial master with the white owl in the other hand. Such a scene can continue to make the burial master's anger worse, and his heart will lose reason. Bang! 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 Zhang Yi kept moving, and the white owl fired at the burial master. One by one, black void spheres came around the burial master's body and then quickly expanded and swallowed it. Soon, a ray of golden light rushed out of the void sphere like the sun breaking through the darkness, and then attacked Zhang Yi regardless of everything. Zhang Yi was not in a hurry and continued to consume slowly with the burial master. No matter how powerful he is, if he is upset, his attack will no longer be fierce. Anger cannot make you stronger. You are just a poor abandoned loser now. Hey, why bother? As a burial master of the tantric sect, does being abandoned by a woman make you so angry? Zhang Yi attacked the burial master with a playful tone and eyes while attacking him mentally. His hand was around Lu Ruyan's waist, and his big hand kept wandering on her body. This scene almost made the burial master's blood rush up and lose his mind. Aha! He roared, and his golden fist was wrapped in a powerful force, launching a ruthless attack on Zhang Yi's dimensional door. But it can't be broken, it really can't be broken. Zhang Yi's defense is completely enough to face a strange person like him who has entered the threshold of the Black Chariot level. The most important thing is that the burial master's mind is confused, his attack has no rules, and he will not fight with his own reason. Even though he knew that he couldn't break Zhang Yi's dimensional door in a head-on battle, he seemed to be just venting his anger instead of really fighting. The powerful power made the whole room excited. Deji, Cheongda, and others were still fighting, but now they had to protect themselves first. Everyone could see that the funeral master had gone completely crazy. If they were not careful, they would all die here. Deji shouted in horror, "Fourth master, calm down, calm down. Don't fall into the opponent's tricks." But how could the funeral master listen? Because Zhang Yi's hand was still on Lu Ruyan's body while shooting at him, he said sarcastic words. What? Can't you stand it? In fact, you don't have to be so anxious. I will help you take care of your woman. Oh, you don't want her to be in a dilemma, do you? Ruyan. Zhang Yi lowered his head and glanced at Lu Ruyan, his eyes full of teasing. Tell me, how is he? Lu Ruyan's eyes sank. She has been in the romantic field for a long time and has a very high emotional intelligence. At this moment, of course, she knew what Zhang Yi wanted her to do. Lu Ruyan raised her head and glanced at the funeral master. The funeral master's throat moved a little, and he looked at Lu Ruyan with a face full of desire. At least, he hoped to hear a little bit of love and appreciation from Lu Ruyan so that he would feel much better. Lu Ruyan said slowly, "In fact, he is not very good in that aspect, and I have to help him every time. I'm sorry, Jiuegua. You're short and small. Compared with the men I have experienced before, you are really not that good. In fact, I always pretend to be very happy, and you can't satisfy me at all." Lu Ruyan said these words without feeling ashamed. But she knew how to deal the heaviest blow to a man. The burial master took a deep breath, his eyes widened, and his heart was about to break. Puff. He didn't catch his breath and spurted blood again. When the anger is in the chest, people will be extremely depressed, and this will happen. But for Zhang Yi, this is all he wants. Take advantage of your illness to kill you. Zhang Yi's white owl fired void bullets continuously, and the burial master's body did not dodge or evade, and was completely hit by Zhang Yi. At this time, his heart was extremely empty, and he even lost some of his desire to survive. As a man, being evaluated like this by the woman he loves, he suddenly felt like he had no desire to live. His body was swallowed by the void sphere. Even with the golden light of the immortal golden body protecting him, Zhang Yi's attack was not a vegetarian. He was immediately covered in wounds, and his robes were torn to pieces. Soon, he appeared naked in front of Zhang Yi and Lu Ruyan. Chapter 14:08 The Fallen Buddha. The robes of the burial master had no ability to repair themselves. When he was desperate and did not resist, his clothes were shattered by Zhang Yi. Lu Ruyan could not help but burst out laughing. The burial master came back to his senses and looked down at his naked body, especially that part. An indescribable feeling suddenly emerged in his heart. After the extreme shame, it is numbness. Lu Ruyan said immediately, "It's really embarrassing. Cover up your little thing." The burial master spit out a lot of blood again. He roared like crazy, and then his figure swept away, tearing off the clothes from a monk and covering his naked body casually. "Chaos, you humiliated me. Today I will make you pay the price." Zhang Yi said indifferently, "You are so naive. No wonder Ruyan didn't choose you." Killing the heart, Zhang Yi knew where the burial master's weakness was at this time, and he seized the pain and attacked fiercely. You are despicable and shameless. Lu Ruyan doesn't love you. Do you dare to let her go and fight me to the death? Lu Ruyan doesn't love you. Enough. Can you stop mentioning her in every sentence? You were fooled by a prostitute. It's the person I arranged for you to go. Do you think she likes you very much? By the way, do you know how many men she had before you? The funeral master's heart was getting more and more broken, his body was shaking, and he was a little unstable. This was not a physical problem, but a manifestation of a heavy blow to the spirit. Although he was trapped in the tantric sect in his life, he had a smooth journey. As the spiritual leader of the tantric sect, no one had ever humiliated him like this. Therefore, today was the greatest humiliation he had ever suffered in his life, and he could not accept it for a while. The funeral master closed his eyes in pain, and when he opened his eyes, Zhang Yi saw such pure murderous intent in his eyes for the first time. He understood that the funeral master wanted to kill him. Only by killing him could the matter of Lu Ruyan be kept secret from anyone. It is even possible that everyone present today will be killed by the burial master. Want to kill me? Zhang Yi raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth. Can you kill me? Not to mention the burial master who has lost his mind now. Even if he was in his prime, he could not break Zhang Yi's defense. The burial master raised his hands and looked up at the sky like a pilgrim. The next moment, a ray of golden light fell from the distant sky and descended on him. That was the power of faith of the Songjia temple. He was bathed in the golden light, and the injuries on his body were also healing rapidly. But this time, the power of faith seemed to be a little weaker, and gradually, it was a little unnoticeable. The burial master's pupils shrank suddenly. How could this be? Zhang Yi was overjoyed. Sure enough, my plan succeeded. A burial master whose heart was completely occupied by lust, murderous thoughts, hatred, and other emotions was no longer worthy of being the leader of the Tantric Buddhism. Because he subverted the belief of the Tantric Buddhism, he naturally could not get the blessing of the Songjia temple. Zhang Yi's attacks continued to shoot at the burial master. The burial master came back to his senses, gritted his teeth, and his eyes were full of murderous intent. It doesn't matter. I'll kill you first, and then destroy the tribes under the demon abyss. I will get the blessing of Tantra again. The burial master was surrounded by golden light at this time, but his sword eyebrows were upside down, and murderous intent was everywhere. How could he give people the feeling of being a Buddha? Instead, he was a madman. 6 senses. He put his right hand on his chest and spoke slowly. The next moment, a surging force burst out from his body, like a stormy wave. No matter what, he is also a black chariot-level alien. Losing his Buddha nature and turning into a demon, his combat power is still strong. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes, knowing that the real trouble was coming. The only good news is that after losing the blessing of Tantra power, he is no longer immortal. Swish! The golden light was dazzling, and he killed in front of Zhang Yi in an instant. Facing the dimensional door that was like a polyhedron blocking Zhang Yi's position, he punched it hard, and this blow was filled with his pure killing intent. Zhang Yi had to take Lu Ruyan into the shadow space. Although Lu Ruyan could affect the burial master, it would also prevent him from fighting wholeheartedly. Boom! The powerful force sank into the other dimensional space. The small world constructed by the alien's ability has a very weak spatial barrier. The burial master's punch was powerful and filled the entire space in an instant. Crack. One of Zhang Yi's dimensional doors actually had a tendency to break. Although this was only one of the 3,000 dimensional doors, its shattering showed the burial master's terrible attack power. Zhang Yi frowned and quickly flew into the air. He was suspended in the air, holding the white owl in both hands and aiming at the burial master. Stars fall. The two guns fired at the same time, and countless void bullets covered the earth like falling stars, completely blocking all directions of the burial master. The burial master looked up at the sky, raised his fist, and punched into the air one punch after another. The power of the void was annihilated by the golden power. In a pure power confrontation, the burial master still has a considerable advantage. After all, the 2,000-point lead in the supernatural power index is not just talk. Zhang Yi changed the bullet very calmly. This time, the burial master still chose to fight with his fist. Unexpectedly, when the bullet hit his fist, a violent explosion occurred immediately. The nuclear bomb, the transuranium elements contained in it can explode with a power of 7 tons of TNT equivalent. The burial master was caught off guard and was also hit and flew backwards. The worst were Deji, Cheongda, and others in the room. Although the length of this room reached several thousand meters, they were also harassed by the storm of the two people's battle and hit the wall hard. Many low-level aliens shed a lot of blood, but they were killed on the spot just by being touched by the aftermath of the two people's battle. No, this battle is not something we can approach. Go quickly, or you will lose your life. Although Cheongda was not afraid of dying in battle, this meaningless death was not what he wanted. At that moment, they didn't even care about snatching the source of God. They hurriedly pushed open the door at the end of the room and fled from this place. Deji looked at the mad master of the funeral and then looked at the source of God standing on the exhibition stand. He opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but when he saw Cheongda and others had fled, he thought about it and gritted his teeth and had to choose to flee first. At this time, the master of the funeral didn't recognize his relatives. If he wanted to go over to dissuade him, he would probably be killed at will. In this room, only Zhang Yi and the master of the funeral were left at this moment. The room was built with special barrier stones, which could withstand their powerful power without being destroyed.